What in the world is Real ID? You might have seen this on your ID. A lot of states and airports have been pushing forth this propaganda, encouraging people to use the Real ID. It's going to be required now as part of the TSA. And so why are they doing that? Well, this actually goes back a very long time till 9/11. When a lot of things changed. I mean, if you want to understand how the world and specifically US works, you can read this 9/11 Commission report. Of course, this report looked into how the 9/11 terrorist attacks were conducted and made a really broad set of recommendations to improve security so it never happens again. So that's why we have things like TSA. That's also why we have things like facial recognition and these digital IDs that are coming forth. So this is from page 387 in the 9/11 Commission report, and it talks about how there are the terrorists which carried out the attack used a passport farm. So they actually recycled each other's passports and visas to get into restricted spaces like the airport and then hijack a plane. So the recommendation here is that the US border security system should be integrated into a larger network of screening points that includes our transportation system and access to vital facilities such as nuclear reactors. So this is just one component of this overarching strategy. A lot of the things that suck about today come from the changes recommended in this 9/11 Commission report. So you know exactly who to blame. This biometric screening system is a large part of this, but what we're talking about today is the Real ID Act, which is, it's not exactly a digital ID, but it also kind of is. So I'll tell you what I mean by that. One, there is not a chip. There is not a literal chip in these IDs. I've looked at a number of IDs. There are things called enhanced IDs that have a chip in them, but for the most part, most of these IDs do not have a chip. What is a requirement with the with Real ID is these special requirements right here. So on every driver's license, it should have the person's full legal name, date of birth, gender, all these things, physical security features. So you'll see some holographic inserts that have the person's face next to it, and a common machine readable technology. So I don't think that this is a chip at this point. I think that this is a code, or even being able to read the text off the card, which is something that happens with passports as well. And the most important part is these issuance standards. So it's not that the ID changed, but it's the information that it's tied to. So this isn't the other requirement section of the Real ID Act. So to meet the requirements, you shall adopt the following practice, and this is the digital ID part: to employ technology to capture digital images of identity source documents so images can be transferred, and also subject each person applying for a driver's license or identification card to a mandatory facial image capture. So I've gotten reports from the ground in the several states where this is required, which is namely Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, Wyoming. All of these states are now requiring you to undergo facial recognition in order to get one of these IDs. So it's kind of a digital ID, it kind of isn't. And what's important is it's completely unconstitutional for you to be forced to use it. So Citizens Council for Health Freedom published a really awesome page with info on how to use to avoid using a Real ID, and the answer is to use a passport. So you can use a passport and to fly, and there's also a 2-year period where nothing's going to happen if you have your standard ID. Now, if you need to do a renewal and you're in one of these states, you're kind of out of luck. You're going to have to use a passport when you fly. Also, in my research, I found that the passport does traditionally have a chip in it. Most passports have chips in it, and there is ID information encoded onto that. It's nothing that you couldn't read off the passport itself, but this just shows you that's exactly what they scan when you're traveling in and out of the country, and there is a historical record of where you've been.